Welcome everyone. Today we are not talking about easy shortcuts. We are not talking about simple luck, and we are absolutely not talking about overnight success. Today we are talking about deep principles. Principles are strong, fundamental rules and truths that beautifully guide your life. These are the exact rules that clearly separate average people from extraordinary ones. Extraordinary means someone who is very special, unusual, and far above average. Take a quiet moment and look around you. Some people stay painfully stuck in the exact same place for years. They have the same income, the same mindset, the same tired excuses, and the exact same results. But some people actively rise. They slowly grow, they improve, they evolve, and they carefully build something powerful. What is the real difference between these two groups? It is not their intelligence. It is not their family background. And it is not their social connections. It is their quiet discipline in making small, daily decisions. Success is absolutely not one big, magical moment. It is simply a collection of daily choices. Today, I am going to give you the rules that, if applied seriously, can completely change your direction. Not tomorrow, not next year, but starting today. This is not mere entertainment. This is deep transformation. And as you listen carefully to these words, you are also improving your English naturally. This brings us to Rule 1. Don't waste time. Time is the absolute only resource in the universe that you cannot earn back. Money can always be safely recovered. Recovered means getting back something important that you lost. Opportunities can warmly return to you and new skills can always be learned. But time, once it is gone, is truly gone forever. Every highly successful person deeply understands this truth. They may not always work harder than you, but they respect their time much more. Most people loudly say they want success, yet they spend their precious days scrolling on their phones for hours, complaining for hours, and sadly watching other people live their dreams. While they do this, time disappears silently. The scary part is that you don't actually feel time leaving you. You don't hear it ticking, and you don't see it walking away. But one day, you suddenly wake up and realize that years are completely gone and nothing in your life has changed. That cold realization hurts much more than failure. How you carefully spend your time strictly determines exactly where you go. If you spend your time learning, you actively move forward. If you spend your time distracting yourself, you sadly stay still. If you spend your time improving your skills, you beautifully grow. If you carelessly spend your time gossiping, you shrink. Gossiping means talking casually and often negatively about other people's private lives. Always remember, easy choices create hard lives, but hard choices safely create easy lives. Imagine two friends who both finish work at exactly 6:00 p.m. Friend A goes home and carelessly spends 3 hours watching random funny videos. Friend B goes home and spends 2 highly focused hours learning a valuable skill. After one single day, there is absolutely no difference between them. After 1 week, there is a very small difference. But after 1 year, there is a massive, life-changing difference. Friend A bitterly says that friend B is just lucky. But it wasn't luck at all. It was strict time management. One person invested their time, while the other simply consumed their time. Time beautifully compounds. To compound means to grow much larger and faster by constantly adding to itself over time. Think of time exactly like money. If you invest your money wisely, it heavily grows. If you waste your money daily, you will severely struggle financially. Time works the exact same way. Every single hour invested in learning, practicing, building, and planning clearly creates a future advantage. But every hour foolishly wasted inevitably creates future regret. Wasting time does something highly dangerous to your mind. It slowly kills your self-respect. When you deep down know that you are capable of more, but you constantly keep choosing lazy comfort, your inner confidence naturally drops. But when you use time wisely, even with small, productive actions, your self-trust increases, and self-trust actively builds your confidence. You must politely become strict with your hours. You do not need to be robotic or obsessed, but you must be deeply aware. Ask yourself, is this helping me grow? Is this moving me forward? Is this truly necessary? If the answer is no, simply reduce it. Successful people absolutely do not have more time than you. They just protect their time better. If you simply master this one rule, don't waste time, your entire life changes because every other rule depends perfectly on this one. You cannot practice without time. You cannot improve without time. You cannot magically build confidence without time. And you cannot achieve success without time. Time is the solid foundation. Respect it, fiercely guard it, and wisely invest it. Because in the end, success is not violently built in one big day. It is quietly built in small, disciplined hours. Now that you know how to perfectly protect your time, you must know what to do with it. This brings us to Rule 2. Practice makes you powerful. Most ordinary people deeply misunderstand the true concept of practice. They innocently think that practice simply makes perfect. No, practice actually makes you incredibly powerful. Why? Because true power comes directly from repetition. Power warmly comes from familiarity. Familiarity means knowing something so deeply that it feels completely natural, safe, and easy. Power beautifully comes from doing something so many times that your cold fear completely disappears. People often look at highly successful individuals and say, "He is so talented, she is naturally gifted." But they completely fail to see the thousands of quiet hours behind that specific skill. They only see the bright final performance. They completely ignore the dark, painful preparation. Practice systematically removes your weakness. Practice strongly builds sharp precision, and it smoothly turns heavy confusion into bright clarity. However, you must understand that practice is highly repetitive. And honestly, repetition is not exciting. Your human brain absolutely loves novelty. Novelty means something that is entirely new, highly unusual, and interesting. Your brain loves cheap entertainment and warm comfort. But true mastery is often very boring. It is strictly repeating the exact same action again and again until it becomes completely automatic. That is exactly why most people quit. They eagerly want the final results without the boring repetition. But without strict repetition, there is absolutely no power. Every single time you actively repeat a skill, you physically strengthen the neural connections inside your brain. After enough repetition, the action becomes much smoother, visibly faster, and significantly more confident. That deep confidence does not magically come from sudden motivation. It steadily comes from repetition. Confidence is absolutely not built by simply reading positive thinking quotes. Confidence is built by solid evidence. Evidence means the real facts or proof that show something is undeniably true. When you actively practice something repeatedly, you quietly gather undeniable evidence. You know deep down in your soul that you can handle it. And when you firmly know you can handle it, your fear rapidly decreases. Imagine someone who bravely practices public speaking every single day. At first, their hands nervously shake, their voice cracks, and they embarrassingly forget their words. But after bravely speaking 100 times, the fear significantly reduces. After speaking 500 times, confidence gently and naturally grows. This happens not because they suddenly became a braver person, but simply because they became intimately familiar with the action. Familiarity kills fear. Many people make a huge mistake and say, "I will definitely practice when I feel motivated." That is a highly dangerous trap. Motivation is extremely unstable. It comes and goes like the wind. Practice must be strictly scheduled, not emotional. You must firmly practice even when you don't feel like it, even when your body is terribly tired, and even when your daily progress feels incredibly slow, because small daily practice heavily compounds. If you don't practice, your skills stay painfully weak, your fear stays strong, your confidence stays low, and then you angrily blame luck for your failures. But luck always beautifully rewards preparation, and preparation only comes from practice. If you gracefully practice consistently for one whole year, you will be completely unrecognizable, not because you worked 20 exhausting hours a day, but simply because you bravely showed up daily. The disciplined person who practices daily will absolutely always defeat the lazy person who only practices occasionally. Power is built quietly in the shadows. Repetition builds authority, and authority beautifully builds your ultimate results. Now we boldly move to Rule 3. Adapt quickly to change. If you actively refuse to politely adapt, Life will forcefully make you struggle. The world around us is moving and changing faster than ever before. Human technology constantly changes, financial markets dramatically change, daily opportunities change, and even people change. If you stay terribly rigid, you will naturally fall behind. Rigid means being completely stiff, like a heavy stone, unable to gently bend or change your mind. But if you bravely adapt quickly, you stay highly relevant. To stay relevant means to remain deeply important, useful, and closely connected to the current modern world. Look closely at giant businesses that completely disappeared. They stubbornly refused to adapt. They proudly said, "This is exactly how we have always done it." And because of that blind pride, they were quickly replaced. The exact same sad thing happens in your personal life. If you stubbornly refuse to quietly learn new skills, you quickly become outdated. Outdated means belonging to the past and no longer being useful. If you refuse to positively change your old habits, you will painfully stay stuck. True adaptability is absolutely not a weakness. It is pure, high intelligence. Many ordinary people severely struggle to carefully adapt strictly because of their large ego. They simply don't want to humbly admit, "I need to secretly improve. I need to quietly update. I need to bravely learn again." But successful adaptation deeply requires deep humility. Humility is the quiet, modest understanding that you are not perfectly complete and still have much to learn. You must boldly accept that real growth deeply means change, and change inevitably means uncomfortable discomfort. When sudden change happens, do not blindly panic. Calmly sit down and analyze the situation. Ask yourself honestly, what exactly is different? What specific new skill is firmly required now? What exactly must I quickly adjust? Then, act very calmly. Fast, intelligent adaptation simply gives you a massive advantage. Slow, painful adaptation only creates heavy, dark stress. Sometimes, sudden adaptation feels exactly like starting all over from zero, and that deeply scares people. But starting again with your past experience is absolutely not starting from zero. It is beautifully starting from wisdom. The wise person who willingly adapts gracefully grows. The stubborn person who blindly resists slowly stagnates. Stagnates means to completely stop developing, moving, or growing, exactly like a dirty pool of still water. When most normal people angrily resist change, those who bravely adapt easily find bright new doors. While others foolishly complain, you quietly prepare. While others terribly fear, you eagerly learn. And that simple, quiet difference gracefully creates true success. If you deeply master this powerful rule, you will truly never be irrelevant. No matter what suddenly changes, you will smartly adjust. No matter what greatly shifts, you will safely evolve. Adaptability strongly protects your entire future. And the shining future belongs entirely to those who calmly move with it, not aggressively against it. This brings us to a crucial survival strategy. Rule 4. Keep moving forward. Most people definitely do not fail because they are physically or mentally weak. They tragically fail simply because they quietly stop. They quickly stop when their daily progress feels too slow. They sadly stop when positive results do not magically come quickly enough. They heavily stop when daily life becomes too heavy. And they stop completely when nobody is standing around clapping for them. That is exactly why "keep moving forward" is absolutely not just a nice, happy quote. It is a brutal, serious survival rule. The world is incredibly full of people who excitedly started and then quickly quit. Huge, lasting success often simply belongs to the tired person who just kept quietly going longer than everyone else. A very big mental mistake is this. People mistakenly think that if they are not actively making massive, big progress, it directly means they are completely failing. No, this is entirely wrong. Some days, your daily progress will be incredibly small. Some days, you will barely only do the absolute minimum. Some days, you will sincerely feel terribly tired and emotionally low. But moving bravely forward beautifully means you simply do not break the chain. Even if your single step is incredibly small, it still powerfully counts. A small, weak step safely taken today is infinitely better than 0 steps. Why? Because small steps perfectly keep your momentum alive. Momentum is the invisible physical force that keeps a heavy object moving continuously once it has already started. Motivation randomly comes and goes like the wind, but strong momentum safely carries you forward. It carries you even when your motivation entirely dies. When you are actively already moving, it is so much easier to simply continue. But when you stop completely, it becomes physically and mentally painful to safely restart. That is exactly why the real strategy is to never completely stop fully. If you are deeply tired and simply cannot do 100%, warmly accept it and do 30%. If you cannot even bravely do 30%, just gently do 10%. But absolutely keep the daily habit alive. Keep your brave new identity alive. Keep your forward direction beautifully alive. Life will eventually interrupt you. To interrupt means to unexpectedly stop someone from safely continuing what they are doing. There will naturally be unexpected problems, family issues, scary health issues, heavy financial stress, and painful emotional stress. And many ordinary people use those exact difficult moments as the perfect, easy reason to simply quit. But highly successful people wisely use those exact same moments as undeniable proof of their inner strength. Because the real test of your character is absolutely not when life is smooth and easy. The real test is exactly when life is crushing and heavy, and you bravely still move. Forward beautifully means you humbly learn one single thing. Even on a terrible bad day, you gently practice just a little, even when you definitely do not want to. You actively take one small action, even when cold fear is highly present. Forward simply means you absolutely refuse to go backward. It does not demand flawless perfection. It only respectfully demands progress. Imagine two normal people sincerely trying to change their life. Person A works incredibly hard for 10 straight days, then sadly misses 2 tired days and completely gives up entirely. Person B works quietly and steadily. Some days are very strong, some days are incredibly weak, but person B absolutely never quits. After 6 long months, person B miraculously looks highly gifted. But it was certainly not magical talent. It was purely forward motion. The world generously rewards the brave person who patiently stays. Tell yourself quietly in the dark, I really do not need to excitedly feel strong right now. I just need to carefully keep moving. Because wild emotions are only temporary, but your forward direction is completely permanent. If you faithfully keep moving forward, you will absolutely eventually reach a beautiful new life. As you keep moving forward every single day, you must build the strongest armor for your mind. This brings us to Rule 5, build self-confidence. Self-confidence is absolutely not arrogance. Arrogance is a negative word. It means proudly and rudely thinking you are much better or more important than other people. Self-confidence is absolutely not loud talking, and it is not proudly showing off to the world. Self-confidence is simply a quiet, highly powerful inner belief that safely says, I can carefully handle life, and that one single belief beautifully changes absolutely everything. Because without inner confidence, you nervously hesitate. You sadly delay your dreams, you painfully overthink, and you completely avoid taking action. You quietly sit and watch other people proudly win, and you wrongly tell yourself, that is just not for me. True confidence is the strong, necessary bridge between your invisible potential and your real action. Potential is your hidden, magical ability to develop, grow, and become highly successful in the future. Most normal people mistakenly think confidence is just a lucky gift. Something you magically have or you don't have. That is completely wrong. Confidence is beautifully built the exact same way physical muscles are built, by actively doing hard things repeatedly. It is built by bravely proving to yourself that you can reliably show up and by strictly keeping your promises to yourself. That is the unbreakable, golden foundation. Confidence absolutely does not come from sweet compliments. Compliments are polite words of praise from other people. Compliments are always only temporary. True confidence firmly comes from undeniable evidence. Evidence means you actually did exactly what you bravely said you would do. You boldly did it even when it was highly difficult, even when your body was terribly tired, and even when absolutely nobody watched you. Every single time you bravely keep a hard promise to yourself, your self-trust quietly grows, and that self-trust slowly becomes real confidence. Many ordinary people softly say, "I will definitely start tomorrow." Then tomorrow eventually comes, and they lazily delay again. They carelessly repeat this dangerous pattern, and slowly they completely stop trusting themselves. They feel terribly weak. They feel highly guilty, and they feel painfully stuck. This happens not because they are inherently lazy, but simply because they broke deep trust with themselves far too many times. So, confidence is never magically built by sudden motivation. It is strictly built by deep self-respect, and self-respect only comes from consistent action. Small promises gracefully kept daily over a long time. That is exactly it. If you firmly tell yourself, "I will heavily work for 20 minutes, and you faithfully do it daily, your mind begins to deeply believe, "I am a person who successfully follows through." That powerful new identity beautifully creates undeniable confidence. Imagine someone who is extremely shy and afraid. They strongly want confidence, but they carefully avoid absolutely everything difficult. They stay perfectly silent, they stay in warm comfort, and they desperately hide. Their confidence sadly never grows. Now imagine the exact same shy person boldly chooses one single small, brave act daily. They bravely speak one short sentence in a meeting. They boldly make one difficult phone call. They politely ask one single question. They firmly say, "No, just once." These are very small actions, but repeated daily, their physical brain entirely changes. Their cold fear naturally reduces, their self-trust strongly grows, and one bright day, they look in the mirror and realize, "I am absolutely not the same person anymore." That beautiful realization is true confidence. This beautifully leads us to Rule 6, improve 1% every day. Most ordinary people naturally fail because they impatiently want a massive, big change very fast. They eagerly want a totally new life in just one short week. They fiercely want huge results in exactly 10 days. They desperately want a complete, miraculous transformation entirely without patience. But real, lasting success is beautifully built very differently. Real success is built slowly through incredibly small daily upgrades, exactly 1% every single day. That mathematically sounds incredibly small, but that is the ultimate hidden secret. Because small improvements heavily compound, and compounding is the absolute most powerful force in all of human growth. To compound means to slowly add together and grow much larger and faster over a long period of time. Massive, big goals can naturally feel incredibly heavy on your shoulders. When a goal feels too heavy and scary, the human mind naturally completely avoids it. But 1% feels beautifully light. It honestly feels possible. It feels delightfully simple enough to just finally start, and once you boldly start, you immediately create forward momentum. So the powerful 1% rule is absolutely not just about simple improvement. It is largely about deeply defeating heavy procrastination. Procrastination is the highly dangerous habit of constantly delaying things that you absolutely must do. The 1% rule magically makes taking action feel completely easy. Highly successful people are absolutely not always doing massive, heroic things. They are simply doing highly small things incredibly consistently. They quietly read a little daily. They patiently practice a new skill daily. They honestly review their embarrassing mistakes daily. They carefully refine their daily habits daily. While other people lazily wait for magical motivation, they quietly collect small, simple wins. And those tiny wins beautifully build a highly powerful new identity. They say to themselves, "I am a person who improves." That exact identity soon becomes completely unstoppable. This is exactly why most normal people sadly quit so early. Because in the very beginning, 1% looks exactly like nothing. You work incredibly hard for 2 exhausting weeks, and your life visibly looks exactly the same. So, heavily disappointed people simply stop. But you must learn this. Compounding is painfully slow in the beginning and highly explosive later. Explosive means expanding suddenly and with massive, shocking power. It is exactly like a tiny, quiet seed. A seed quietly grows under the dark, heavy soil first. Absolutely nothing is visible to the human eye, but strong roots are actively and deeply forming. Then, one bright day, it miraculously breaks through the hard dirt. That is exactly how human improvement firmly works. For a long while, people simply don't see your quiet growth. Then suddenly, they look at you and say, "How did you miraculously change so much?" But it wasn't sudden at all. It was daily. Your 1% can simply be waking up 15 minutes earlier. It can be quietly reading 3 pages of a good book. It can be actively practicing one single skill for 20 focused minutes. It can be bravely cutting out one silly distraction. It can be firmly fixing one small, annoying bad habit. Or it can be taking one highly small, uncomfortable action. It is absolutely not dramatic, but it is incredibly powerful precisely because it is consistent. And true consistency is very rare. Stop wildly trying to frantically change absolutely everything at once. Change exactly one small thing at a time. Success is absolutely not built by wild, loud intensity. It is safely and permanently built by small daily upgrades. As you beautifully practice and improve every single day, you must safely protect your mind from dark negativity. This brings us to Rule 7. Attitude is everything. Your hard skills definitely matter, but your internal attitude completely decides exactly how far your physical skills can actually go. Because the exact same situation can easily create 2 completely different outcomes depending heavily on your attitude. An outcome is the final, visible result of a long process or situation. Imagine this. One person faces a terrible problem and angrily says, "This is entirely unfair." Another person brightly faces the exact same problem and calmly says, "This is tough training." They share the exact same life, but they have a completely different mindset, which successfully creates a completely different future. Your daily attitude strictly controls exactly how you bravely respond to painful failure, how you safely handle heavy pressure, how you kindly treat other people, how you calmly handle sharp criticism, and exactly how long you quietly stay consistent. A dark, negative attitude heavily makes absolutely everything feel impossible and heavy. A bright, strong attitude beautifully makes absolutely everything feel entirely possible. That is exactly why your daily attitude is absolutely not a small, silly thing. It is the powerful engine of your entire life. Let's carefully examine the dangerous victim attitude. A victim is someone who foolishly believes they are always suffering and magically have absolutely no control over their own life. It painfully sounds like this: "Why me? Life is too hard. People are totally against me. I simply can't do it. Others have it much easier." This toxic attitude instantly kills all human progress because it completely teaches you to lazily wait for your life to magically change. But truly successful people absolutely do not wait. They proactively adjust their internal attitude first, and only then do they actively change their external results. A highly strong attitude powerfully sounds like this: "I will smartly figure it out. I will humbly learn from this mistake. I will absolutely not quit. I will calmly adapt. I will bravely do exactly what others avoid doing." This positive attitude safely creates deep resilience. Resilience successfully creates strong consistency, and consistency beautifully creates true success. A real tested attitude is absolutely not shown on easy good days. It is bravely shown on incredibly hard days, exactly when you painfully fail and exactly when people loudly doubt you, when you feel physically tired, and when your daily results are painfully slow. If your internal attitude stays powerfully strong in those dark moments, your future easily becomes incredibly strong. Always remember, your attitude is a conscious decision, absolutely not a fixed personality. You freely choose exactly how you interpret life. To interpret means to quietly decide what the true hidden meaning of something really is, and exactly how you interpret your daily life slowly becomes exactly how you live your life. Now we must learn exactly how to survive the long, quiet journey of success. This smoothly brings us to Rule 8, patience and persistence. Most normal people desperately want massive results incredibly fast. They impatiently want life change in just 7 days. They eagerly want complete success in exactly 30 days. They blindly want a beautiful new life entirely without taking a long, hard journey. But true, real success absolutely does not magically work like that. Real, lasting success is always painfully slow at first. And that heavy slowness is the ultimate human test, because exactly when daily progress is very slow, your dark mind quietly starts whispering, "This simply isn't working. You are completely wasting your time. Give up right now. Try something completely else." And that painful moment is exactly where most ordinary people suddenly quit. They quit not because they actually can't succeed, but simply because they completely cannot wait long enough to safely succeed. Patience is absolutely not just lazily doing nothing. Patience is bravely continuing to work hard without eagerly seeing your final results yet. Persistence is absolutely not temporary motivation. Persistence is the highly powerful ability to keep doing something extremely difficult even when it takes a very long time. Persistence is bravely staying in the tough game even when you feel terribly tired, deeply bored, or highly discouraged. Patience safely protects your mind from terrible emotional decisions. Without quiet patience, scared people tragically quit much too early. They nervously change their direction far too often. They foolishly chase cheap shortcuts. They desperately jump from plan to plan, and they heavily lose their inner confidence quickly. Patience beautifully keeps you perfectly stable. It quietly allows your daily efforts to safely grow deep roots because absolutely every big outcome deeply needs a long time to properly develop. You absolutely cannot violently rush human skill. You cannot forcefully rush true mastery. You absolutely cannot blindly rush deep transformation. The loud world is incredibly full of people who excitedly started, but very few people quietly finished. And quietly finishing is exactly what safely creates massive success. True persistence simply means you bravely show up again tomorrow, even after a terrible bad day, even after painful failure, even after public embarrassment, even when other people loudly doubt you, and most importantly, even when your own dark mind deeply doubts you. Persistence is pure self-respect happily in action. Many highly disciplined people work quietly for many long months and see absolutely no results. Then, one bright day, massive results suddenly appear. This is exactly how human life actually works. Beautiful results are always slightly delayed, but if you foolishly quit too early, you truly never reach the glorious moment when your hard effort finally beautifully shows itself. That is exactly why patient persistence is absolutely not just a polite rule. It is an absolute, non-negotiable requirement. Imagine two young people excitedly learning the exact same high-value skill. Both happily start highly excited. After 2 long weeks, it quickly feels highly hard. After 1 long month, it heavily feels painfully slow. Person A angrily says, "This simply isn't for me," and they completely quit. Person B calmly says, "I will peacefully give it time," and they bravely continue. After 6 quiet months, Person B miraculously becomes highly valuable. Massive opportunities warmly come. Their daily income greatly grows. Their quiet confidence strongly rises. Person A sadly sees this and bitterly says, "You are incredibly lucky." But it absolutely wasn't cheap luck. It was quiet patience and heavy persistence. One brave person quietly stayed long enough for real growth to slowly arrive. The other scared person lazily left much too early. We have learned about time, practice, adaptation, momentum, confidence, small improvements, attitude, and patience. But none of these powerful rules will work without this final key. This brings us to Rule 9, believe in yourself. This specific rule is the powerful engine behind absolutely every other rule. An engine is the strong hidden machine that makes a heavy car move forward. Without it, nothing goes anywhere. Because if you deeply don't believe in yourself, you simply won't even start. And even if you courageously start without belief, you definitely won't continue. Many ordinary people misunderstand this. They sit and wait for a magical feeling. But belief is absolutely not a feeling. Belief is a firm decision. It is the quiet, powerful decision to look in the mirror and say, "I may be slow, but I am highly capable. I may painfully fail, but I will humbly learn. I may absolutely not be there yet, but I will definitely reach there." Most normal people absolutely don't fail because they lack real potential. Potential is your hidden, natural ability to become something great in the future. They tragically fail simply because they strongly doubt their own potential. They nervously talk themselves completely out of taking any action. Heavy self-doubt instantly creates lazy procrastination, painful overthinking, cold fear of judgment, fear of trying, and a terrible fear of failure. And when that cold fear slowly becomes a daily habit, your entire life becomes incredibly small. Scared people stay painfully stuck in safe, warm comfort zones. They stay there absolutely not because they truly want to, but simply because they deeply don't believe they can safely handle discomfort. That is exactly why true belief matters so much. Belief beautifully gives you necessary courage. Courage instantly creates real action. Action slowly creates massive growth. Growth safely creates undeniable proof. And that solid proof strengthens your inner belief even more. Many people wrongly say, "I will finally believe in myself when I actually succeed." But true success strictly requires belief first. You must bravely believe completely before the physical proof officially arrives. Why? Because pure belief is exactly what keeps you working hard when your daily progress is totally invisible. That is exactly why belief is so incredibly powerful. It keeps your dreams alive in the very early, dark stages. Real tested belief is absolutely not just posting happy quotes on the internet. Real belief is definitely not just loudly saying, "I am confident." Real, true belief is waking up early and doing the hard work even when you feel terribly unsure. Belief is never perfect confidence. Belief is simply showing up anyway. Imagine someone who strongly wants to happily start a business. They have brilliant ideas and they have massive ambition, but they constantly keep nervously thinking, "What if I completely fail? What if normal people loudly laugh at me? What if I am just not good enough?" Long years quietly pass and absolutely nothing happens. Now, beautifully imagine the exact same person boldly chooses belief. Not silly, blind belief, but highly practical belief. Practical means making sensible decisions based on real life, not just wishing for magic. They bravely say, "I will smartly start small. I will humbly learn. I will carefully improve." They take one tiny action, then another, then another. Slowly, they safely gain real experience. Their experience smoothly becomes deep confidence. Their confidence safely becomes solid results, and their results beautifully become true success. Quiet belief absolutely didn't make the business succeed magically. Belief simply made the brave person actively move, and that physical movement successfully created the bright future. If you deeply don't believe in yourself, you will sadly always live under other people's heavy expectations. Expectations are the strong hopes or demands that other people place on your shoulders. But when you truly believe in yourself, you proudly start building your very own life. Belief is absolutely not rude pride. Belief is simply permission. It is giving yourself the beautiful permission to bravely try, the permission to painfully fail, the permission to slowly grow, and the ultimate permission to proudly win. We have reached the very end of our long journey. As you step out into the world, remember this ultimate truth. Your future is currently being built by exactly what you do repeatedly. Every single day you carelessly waste is a sad vote for future regret. A vote is a formal choice you make to decide who wins an election. In your life, you are constantly voting for your future self. Every single day you carefully practice is a powerful vote for true power. Every single day you bravely keep going is a beautiful vote for a completely new life. And one bright, beautiful day, you will proudly look back at your long journey and realize something incredibly profound. You will smile and realize you absolutely didn't get lucky. You simply got serious. You absolutely didn't just randomly find success. You carefully built it. And you successfully built it simply because you stubbornly refused to ever quit. So, keep beautifully moving forward. Stay fiercely hungry for knowledge. Stay deeply focused on your goals. Stay incredibly patient with your progress and firmly prove to yourself that you are absolutely not the weak person who easily gives up. You are the strong person who proudly finishes, because this is your one and only beautiful life, and the time to completely change it is now or never.